guide my feet through there. Take my hand, precious Lord, and lead me home.
We have missed beautiful, blessed voice of Brooklyn. God has blessed her, and she singing for her grandfather, precious Lord, take my hand. As I think about my friend and your friend, your father, grandfather, I am reminded here today to tell you that as Paul would write unto the church at Corinth, that 5th chapter and verse 8, he said, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Yes. Now, man is a trichotomy. He's a spirit that have a body that houses his soul. Just the other day, Jesus came, knocked on his door, and told him that it's time now for the separation, for the crossover from this life to another life. You can leave this old earthly body here, but your soul belongs to me. So what I'm saying here today is that Brother Mayhew is not here. If he had a chance to be here this morning, he would say, Stout, go ahead, tell my friends and my family, I've crossed over to the other side. Now, as he was over here on this side, Brother Mayhew was a different kind of person. One who could tell the story. He once told me, and I wanted to believe him, but I couldn't, because I know where Grenada, Mississippi is. He told me that he got up early one morning, sunrise, and got him a long sack, and he started picking cotton in Grenada. By sundown, he said he looked up and saw a sign that said, welcome to Texas. I just don't believe that the road was quite that long. But he would do that, and he was about being number one or being the biggest one there. I know one day that Deacon Smith and Brother Mayhew, they rode around in the same police cars sometime, and they were telling me that they were chasing this fellow over in South Nashville, and they knew that they had chased him at a dead end. And they said that when they got to the dead end, they didn't see the car anymore. Now, if it had been Mayhew by himself, I would say, well, I don't know, but both of them told me that. And I spent almost a half a day trying to find that street. And to see exactly what happened, but they told me that. And Deacon Smith was the one who started the turkey drive here at our church. We would have members to come, and they would bring 1 and 2 turkeys. Most time 1, but every now and then 2. Mayhew came up to me and he said, Pastor, I want to know, but how many freezers do you have here? I said, what? He said, how many freezers do you have here? I said, well, we have enough to be able to take care of your turkeys. Mayhew pulled up that Saturday morning with 40 turkeys. I don't know where he found all of those turkeys. But see, he was that kind of guy. He would make it happen. And he told me one day, he said, Pastor, if you just turn me loose, I can fill up this church. I can fill it up. I can fill it up. He was that kind of a person. I mean, you know, you had to love Mayhew to know Mayhew. He was straightforward, and he would come in, and most time he'd stop in my office and talk for a minute, and then he said, well, I gotta go and join these fellows in Sunday school. And he would make his way in there, and he started talking, and Sister Mayhew would always say, shut up, Mayhew. Nobody else could say it, but she would tell him all the time, shut up. And he would just look at her and kind of laugh and say, okay, Lou. But what a man. So I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss him because said he was a friend. And I don't know, but he told me that he and I had met out there at TSU. I was out there at that time, but I can't. But I'm sure he was there, but he told me, oh, yeah, Stout, I knew you were going to preach a long time ago. He knew I was going to preach before I knew I was going to. Oh, just a friend, just a friend. Well, let me share with y'all. In the book of 2 Timothy, that 2nd chapter, you'll find these words in verse 3. Thou, therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier in Jesus Christ. Thou, therefore, endure hardness as a good soldier in Jesus Christ. Now, Mayhew was a good soldier. He was a soldier of the cross. He was a great protector, a great provider. He wanted to share and show you along the way. I remember one day he came to me and he said, Pastor, I see you up on this hill a lot of time by yourself. Do you have a gun? I said, no. He said, man, you need to learn how to shoot a gun. I'm going to set you up a class, and I want you to go to that class, and I'm going to take you out to the shooting range and show you how to shoot. because you up here on this hill by yourself, you need to know how to shoot a gun. If you don't shoot at nothing but the deals that cross here, I need to show you how to do it. And you know, Mayhew, he went through that whole process of getting me in class, telling me what kind of gun to buy, taking me to the gun range, going through the whole process. And when I got through going through it, and I don't know if you're telling the truth or not at the end, but he told me, he said, man, you shoot well enough to be on the FBI. And I looked at the right target. I think I probably hit the target once out of 100 times. But that was a kind of person that Brother Mayhew was. He was a friend. Now, let me see if I can't take that verse and see if I can't dissect it for you as we talk about the life and the legacy of Brother Houston Mayhew. It says, thou therefore endure hardness. He knew hardness as he would go through this life. He understood what he had already gone through in the great state of Mississippi. He knew that the playing field would not be level all the way through. He knew that there would be some hills in which that he would have to climb. He knew that he would have to endure hardness. This is what Paul had told his spiritual son Timothy. And he said, Timothy, I am here now in the Roman jail, and I see the Roman soldier. I see how they put on their uniform. I see how they train. I see how they go through life as good soldiers. And I want to live one point here. And my first point is that he served his country. I remember Vietnam. I remember back in the 60s. I remember folk was going, but Brother Mayhew not only went one time, but he served 2 service of duty there in Vietnam. He did not go AWOL. I want you to know that he was steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. He earned the bronze medal there in the army as he was serving his country. He loved his country, even though that he knew that from time to time that he would have to endure hardness as a good soldier, but he stepped up to the plate and to be able to serve the life liberty to make sure that all of us would be able to enjoy the freedom in which that we enjoy now. That was the kind of soldier that Brother Mayhew was in the United States Army. Now, not only did he serve his country, secondly, he served his city. Once that he had spent time in the military, he came in, he joined the police force here in Nashville. He served with the police department for some 32 years, in and out. And I believe that Houston Jr. put it very well. He had a purpose. His purpose was to make sure that all of the citizenry would be guided and guarded as they would go along the way. He he was a good soldier. He was a good soldier. He was a good soldier in the army. He was a good soldier doing this on the streets of Nashville, making sure that we all could sleep comfortably. Now, my third point here, as Paul would talk to his spiritual son of Timothy, and he said, "Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier." Now, all soldiers are not good soldiers. Deacon Mayhew was a good soldier. And he says, "Endure hardness as a good soldier in Jesus Christ." So, a good soldier follow the command of their commander. Mayhew commander was Jesus Christ. Mayhew listened to the voice of Jesus. He knew what was right. He understood what was wrong, and he would align himself into be on the right side of life. And so he was a good soldier and serving his church. Now, he would oftentimes tell me, he would say, "Pastor, I don't need to be in the Sunday morning program. I don't need to be elevated. I just want to serve. I'm not looking for a seat, but I'm looking forward and to be a good servant." You can give everyone else the high seat of life. You can give them a great position in life. And he would oftentimes say that, "I don't care about title and rank in the church. Just want to be a servant." And he would say that Nebuchadnezzar, and he had a title, but he said that Daniel had a testimony. He said that Potiphar had a title, but he said that Joseph had a testimony. He said that my way of life is that when I come through Berean here, I want to be able to have a testimony. I want to be able to leave a legacy behind whereby folk would know that I was not putting my sight set on seat, but my sight would be set on serving my sisters and brothers here at Berean and across Nashville. Now, I want you to know that as he was working throughout our church, it didn't make him any difference. Only thing that he wanted to know is that where can I be of help? Where can I be of service? Just point me in that direction, and then let me go and do my Father's will. And I want you to know that Mayhew was a good servant here at Berean. We even talked to the church, and they had already told me and put our hands on him and to be our next deacons. Now, if it hadn't been for the pandemic and hadn't been for his sickness, Brother Mayhew would have been a deacon here at Berean. He was just that kind of a Christian. Now, as I get ready to close this little talk, I want to close it by saying that he was a good soldier on this side, but he now is a good soldier over on the other side. Knowing him as I know him, when the Lord called him home, I'm sure that he said, "I'm ready now to join your army. I want you to know that Mayhew, he would always give God his best. And one day, he told me, he said, Reverend, I want you to tell my people the old story that you told once before. And that story was, it was an old preacher, y'all, down in Georgia, would always end the sermon by saying, that'll do. And he was a good old preacher, but he would always end it by saying, that'll do. And the ladies in the church said, somebody need to go and talk to Reverend. Tell Reverend that we have some educated folks here in our church, and he's messing up the King English by saying that'll do. And the ladies got together and they talked to the deacons. They said, deacons, you all need to go and talk to Reverend. Tell him that we have lawyers, doctors, educators throughout our church. We have folk with big businesses and all, and he just messing up the King English by saying that'll do. It all off the end of his sermon. And the deacons went ahead, they had the deacon meeting, and they said, Reverend, the folk in the church getting a little tired of you saying that'll do at the end of all of your messages. An old preacher said, well, I understand. He said that I may not have a lot of money in my pocket, but as long as I have Jesus, that'll do. May not have families and friends that I can talk to all the time, but as long as I have Jesus, that'll do. I may not have the biggest mansion over on this side of the river, but as long as I have Jesus in my life, that'll do. That'll do this morning. I want you to know that Mayhew had Jesus in his life. He was able to say, that'll do. Tuesday morning, September the 6th, when the Lord knocked on his door, he said that I'm ready now. I'm ready to step out of this side. Come on in on the other side, because I took Jesus as my captain a long time ago. I know I have a home in the Lord. I don't have to worry about it anymore. I don't have to worry about sickness. Don't have to worry about pain. Everything now I can say that'll do, because now I'm at home with the Lord. And families, I want you to know that our friend, your father, your grandfather is in a better place now. And he's able to tell Sister Mayhew, I made it over. One day, don't know when, but we all will see them again, because we know they're in a better place. They're there now resting. Find the Lord for yourself. Let him lead and guide you this way. For he would tell you that it's going to be some difficult times. There's going to be some. But as long as you have Jesus in your life, he'll lift you above. I'm going to ask the morticians if they will come now. Immediately after we leave from here, shortly we all will gather together and to see him at his found resting place at the veteran cemetery. And then immediately after, the families and friends will come back to the church. We will have a repast. And the Dr. Robert and God bless. Resurrection and the life. He who believes in me,
So, if you wanna know where I am going, so I'm going.